Well, welcome City Valley Church. Welcome if you're new tuning in to our special online family service. You're very welcome, kind of whether you're like a babe in arms or whether you're doddering around on a walking stick, you are very welcome. Now, really looking forward to this morning. Now, I do need to tell you something. You need to kind of grab hold of something that you can make a bit of noise with, you can break the silence with. So maybe a saucepan, sorry, that was a bit loud. Or if you're a bit more refined, maybe something like a cajon. So if you're new tuning in, then do let us know. Do get in touch with us if you'd like to receive our weekly family news that comes out on a Wednesday. Or if you'd like more information about our youth and children's resources, then just contact us through the website. Now, just a reminder, at the end of this online service, we're going to be breaking bread together in our households on Zoom. So look forward to seeing you there. Right, now it's over to Beth.
Lovely church family, how are you all? Great. Kids, how are you doing? Been back at school this week? Great. I hope it's been nice to see friends again and all of that. Yeah, so I wonder what kind of week you guys have all had. I personally have had, just the week gone's been pretty tricky, probably the hardest week since lockdown started. And kind of as the week went on, all the self-disciplines and routines that I'd put in place to kind of deal with lockdown, it kind of all came unravelled within the week. And it was really, really frustrating that the amount of time and energy that I'd put into putting these habits in place kind of all dismantled within a week. So I am at the moment feeling extremely frustrated and weary from all of that, and kind of feel all really disorientated again. So I kind of was just aware as I came to prepare these songs that, we're all in completely different seasons. And as we come together this morning, we come from every different possible season that it's possible to have. So some of you might have had an amazing week, and that is awesome. And, some of you are feeling a lot worse off than I am. So, I was kind of just really aware of that, and kind of the songs I picked this morning really come from and kind of emphasising the character of God, and laying down and trusting, those weeks we've had, and all the joys and the anxieties and the frustrations, and trusting Him into His more than capable hands. So, that's where the songs have come from this morning, and let's sing together.
Sing praise.
Your promise. Your promise still stands. Great is your faithfulness. I'm still in your hands. This is my confidence. You never failed me yet. Let's just sing this bridge over the situation we're currently in, over each other. I've seen you move the mountains, and I believe I see you do it again. You made a way where there was no way, and I believe I see you do it real low points, Lord, we submit them to you and we thank you for them, because we know that in the middle of all of them you are working for our good and for your glory. Amen. Thanks, everyone. Enjoy the talk. Love to you all. Bye.
Well, good morning, City Valley Church. I just want to bring an update about what our Connect groups are going to look like in the next few months. Now, if you cast your mind back to the 1st of March, we launched the start of our Spring Connect Group programme, where we were going to be looking at the prayer course. Well, now feels like a really good and necessary time to revisit and relaunch the prayer course by Pete Greig. Pete Greig is a best-selling author. He's a church leader and a co-founder of the 24/7 prayer movement. And this is what he has to say about prayer. To be human is to pray. Prayer is the least weird, most natural, necessary and wonderful invitation. But no one finds it easy. I guess we all need a little help. And that's why he's put together a fantastic course based on the Lord's Prayer, comprising of 8 20-minute long videos, laying out a real practical, helpful toolkit to equip us in all aspects of prayer, covering themes such as why pray, what is petition and intercession, what do we do about unanswered prayer, how do we listen to God, and the important role that prayer plays in spiritual warfare. This is some really great content, and I'm super excited to see what God is going to do as we discover greater depths of the power of prayer. So now is a really great time to re-engage with your Connect group, or if you're not part of one of our midweek groups, then do contact the office to find out more. Your Connect group leaders will be in touch soon with more information about when your group will be starting and what the prayer course will look like in your group. Enjoy.
Good morning, City Valley. I just wanted to let you know about the online Alpha course that will be starting in just a few weeks' time on Monday, the 29th of June at 8 o'clock. Now, this course is for anybody across Bradford, Shipley, Airedale, and we just want to encourage you just to get thinking and praying about who you could invite. I also want to encourage you, because there has been a report to say that since lockdown there have been more people Googling and asking questions about Christianity than ever before. There's been an increase of people downloading the Bible app and buying physical Bibles from online bookshops, and that there has been an increase of people signing up to online Alpha across the UK and within Christ Central as well. It's been very popular. People are asking big questions. Now, the Alpha will be laid out in the same format. They'll have a video which will go into a topic and then a chance for discussion groups. So get praying and thinking about who you could invite. And if you can't think of anybody but you have Facebook, then we'd encourage you just to share the advert because you never know who's going to be on your friend list who's asking some big questions right now.
Good morning, everyone. What a lovely thing to be together this morning. I know we're not all together in the same room, but we love each other, don't we? And we're agreed in our spirits that we want to see Jesus worshipped and lifted up. And that togetherness in our spirits is very real and actually so powerful for bringing the kingdom of God. So really, I am glad that we're together this morning. Now, this talk this morning is for all ages. So whether you're a child or a grown-up, this is for you. And our theme this morning is the prophetic word that God has given us as a church, that it's time to break the silence. And if you want to find where we're looking in the Bible, we're going to be doing a whistle-stop tour of Acts 16 to 18. Now, to make sure that you're all listening carefully, I want you to make a noise every time I say break the silence. Thank you. So grab a drum, a whistle, practice a quick praise the Lord, so you can make a noise every time I say break the silence. Okay, thank you for that. So I'm going to tell you about a time when God told Paul to break the silence. Do you remember Paul? He used to be called Saul, and he hated Christians and tried to imprison them and get rid of as many as he could. But then Jesus appeared to him one day, shining more brightly than the sun, and Saul suddenly realized how wrong he had been. And from then on, he went from place to place, telling people about Jesus, and God changed his name to Paul to give him a fresh start. So Paul travelled from city to tell people about Jesus and plant new churches. And in each city that he went to, there were some people who listened to him and became followers of Jesus because of what he said. And in each city, there were usually some people who hated what he said and tried to make him shut up. Okay, so we're going to pick up Paul's story over a particularly traumatic few weeks, maybe a couple of months, where he had to leave 3 cities in quick succession because of the force of the opposition against him. Okay, so first, Philippi. Here's our map so that we can show you, here's Paul, where he went. All right, so in Philippi, people got so mad at Paul and his friend Silas that they beat them up really badly with wooden rods and threw them into prison. So they had to leave there as quick as they could. And they went on to Thessalonica here. And in Thessalonica, Paul told people about the gospel and Jesus, and it made a massive crowd so mad that they started attacking people and rioting, and Paul and his friends had to run away to another city down here called Berea. But the mob from Thessalonica followed them to Berea, causing trouble. So Paul and his friends had to leave there too, and he went on to Athens, all the way down here, where he preached the gospel for a while. And then finally, he arrived in Corinth. Phew, so poor Paul, telling people about Jesus, preaching the gospel, planting new churches with some success, but always being hounded, sometimes attacked, chased away, maybe badly beaten, sometimes imprisoned. And actually, it sounds pretty frightening and traumatic. And he arrived in Corinth eventually in weakness and fear with much trembling. That's what he says in 1 Corinthians 2, verse 3. So maybe this is a moment where Paul thinks it's time to be quiet for a bit. I won't risk sharing the gospel in Corinth. What do you think, kids? Do you reckon he deserved a rest after all that? I mean, it sounds like he needed some recovery time, doesn't it? But God spoke to Paul in a vision, and he said something along the lines of, "It's not time for silence, Paul. It's time to break the silence." What God said was, "Do not be afraid. Keep on speaking. Do not be silent. For I am with you, and no one is going to attack and harm you, because I have many people in this city." That's Acts 18, verse 9 and 10. Do not be afraid. Keep on speaking. Do not be silent, for I am with you, and no one is going to attack and harm you, because I, that's God speaking, have many people in this city. So in this moment, Paul needed God to tell him to break the silence. If it was up to him, he may well have wanted silence, lie down in a quiet place to recover from the trauma. But God's word comes to strengthen and encourage him, to still his fears, to restore his courage. And the word of God also comes to reignite his zeal and his excitement and his commitment to the prize of winning people for the kingdom. There's a harvest here, Paul, Jesus is saying to him. I promise there will be a harvest. Because when God's word comes, it has power, doesn't it? It has its own innate creative ability. So when God's word comes to Paul, beaten down, traumatized, shaking with fear, the word of God breathes life again, strengthens him, encourages him, gets that good news bubbling up again inside him, and sets his eyes back on that prize that means everything to him. There will be a harvest. I want to encourage you that God is speaking to us as a church about breaking the silence for the very same reasons. He's saying that in order to strengthen us and restore our courage. And God is speaking to us about breaking the silence because there's a harvest. He sees it when he looks at Bradford. He's showing it to us too. And his word has that innate creative ability that will reignite our zeal and get it bubbling up again for seeing people receiving the kingdom in Bradford. He has many people in this city. So it's time for us to let the word of God strengthen us and to get the good news bubbling up again to overflowing. God said to Paul, keep on speaking. There's something about not holding back with our words, letting the Holy Spirit bubble in us to speak out, to sing out, to pray out, so that with our words, we're not silent, we're calling out to God, we're encouraging one another, we're declaring over Bradford, just like Jesus did on that feast day, that invitation, anyone who is thirsty, come and drink. Now, we've been talking about water bubbling over, and you've been watching me merrily pouring this water into this jug until it spills out all over the edges. But I think maybe God is doing something even more dramatic than that. For those of you who made it to the last couple of Wednesday evening meetings we've had, you'll have heard the prophetic word that Jeremy and Anne Simpkins brought about a volcano in Bradford. Not a real one, kids, by the way, a spiritual one. And again, a prophetic word from someone in High Wycombe prophesying over us as a church before we even began about a volcano, that we will see the power of God rise up and pour out like lava over Bradford, spewing everywhere. So I thought we needed a miniature volcano demonstration just to illustrate the point.
Right, let's go.
Okay, so this is our volcano. Do you like it? And we're going to pour some of this in here. Let's get some of that exciting, fizzy volcano lava action going. Look at that. Yes, I think we might need just a little bit more. Just for one last exciting fizz. Brilliant. Some really good lava spewing out everywhere. Isn't it a wonderful thought to think of what God's doing in Bradford like a volcano? I think we need to pray for that. Please, will you pray that with me? For that power of God to burst out across Bradford and pour out his goodness and expand his kingdom right here. I would love you to pray that with me now, and then keep on praying and let God give you prayers that bubble up to the surface and pour out to him. Yeah, is that okay? Great. Right, so let's start that praying together now. First, let's pray for those of us who need to be strengthened. Fears stilled, boldness breathed in. Kids, if that's you and you want to pray for God to strengthen you, adults too, if you want to, where you are with your eyes closed, just clench your fists with me as we ask God to strengthen us. Okay. So God, fill us with courage and boldness and your strength right now in the name of Jesus. And for those of us who have lost drive and need to get excited about that harvest again, all those people who God says are going to belong to him in this city. Kids, if that's you, and adults, if you want to, let's put our hands to our eyes as we think about God showing us all the people that he wants to come to know him. So God, open our eyes to that wonderful harvest. Let that zeal and excitement and commitment to that prize bubble up inside us again as you show us what you're doing. And finally, let's pray for the power of God to burst out in Bradford, pouring out to all the people that he's calling to be his in this city. Kids and grown-ups, let's put our hands out and just invite God to pour out his power and his love across where we live. God, we call on you now to pour out your power from heaven. Let your love and your goodness pour out from your people in this city to all those that you're calling. We know that this is going to happen by your Spirit, and we ask it in the name of Jesus. Amen. What a pleasure to be with you guys this morning. Well done, kids, for joining in with us. A big pat on the back to you. Sending you all so much love and really looking forward to seeing your lovely faces on Zoom when we break bread together in a few minutes.
Well, thank you, Joy. Just loved the volcano illustration and all that you shared. I'm sure we're itching to try doing that volcano at home, but so encouraging to hear what Jesus is going to be doing in Bradford and the surrounding area. So let's keep praying for that overflow to fill us, to flood out of us. You know, there are many people that God wants to bring into his kingdom in our streets, in our neighborhoods. Well, we're going to break bread just in a moment. And church, let's just remember to continue to take advantage of the easing of the lockdown restrictions that are happening. So, you know, now we can meet up with others outside, providing we're not shielding, you know, in groups up to 6 people. So whether in our garden or in the park. So let's really remember to take initiative to do that, to fellowship with each other in the church or have time with our neighbours. We invited our neighbours around just a couple of times this last week. So let's enjoy taking opportunity to break the silence together. And also, you know, I heard a lovely story from a friend in the church in York that we're linked to, where they've just, as a family, they prayed about who they could socially bubble with. And remember, you've heard on the news about where there's someone living on their own, you can form a social bubble with them. And just hearing the joy about how he was explaining how the kids are so thrilled to be able to hug someone else in the church. So let's be praying about who we can include into our household. Again, providing you're not shielding. So, church, really looking forward to being together in a moment. So you just got a few minutes now to grab some bread or some juice or some wine, and let's break bread together in our households now.